Welcome to Decades of Horror, the 1970s.
Idiots. That's what they are. Stupid idiots. Just low-class idiots.
This is episode 193, recorded July 7th, 2023.
Gruesome Magazine.
I am your host, Doc Rodden, and this podcast is about horror films released between 1970 and 1979. Each episode, my co-host, Jeff Mohr, and I will take a look at another classic, or not so classic, film from this wondrous, groovy, gory, and influential decade. With me this week is my co-host, Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
Wretched. Simply wretched.
Still on the wretched. All right. You rock that wretched thing.
I am.
All right. Joining us tonight is Bill Mulligan, writer, director, special effects guru, and cat lover. All around nice guy. How you doing, Bill?
Doing better. I haven't had the internet for like the last 7 days or so. So it's good to be back. Just got back this afternoon.
Is it? I mean, you probably enjoyed your time away as well.
No, I did not.
You like
No.
you like having dinner? Okay. All
Nice theory, but no.
All right. Well, it's one of your All right. Also joining us tonight is Chad Hunt, comic book artist and co-host of Decades Horror, the classic era. He's also a director, writer, and producer, and he does everything. If you think of something that somebody does, Chad does it.
Yep.
Chad Hunt, how you doing, sir?
Yep, just sweep it all up into a dustpan and throw it in the garbage.
You want to throw Cindy Williams into a trash can? Chad's your guy.
Schlemiel, Schlemazel. No, I'm doing good.
That's too bad.
You guys will figure what I mean out here in a little bit when we get into reviewing our movie tonight, which is, I think it's a kind of a strange pick for us. It's a film I think none of us knew, The Killing Kind. I can't wait to get into it from 1973. This is a very strange one. But before we do, Jeff Mohr has a little bit of news about Play Now Media.
Yeah, well, Gruesome Magazine and Decades of Horror have been partnering with Play Now Media, and all the Decades of Horror episodes that are on video are moving over to Play Now Media as well as YouTube. So I think as of right now, episodes 160 through 192 are on Wicked Horror TV.
Wow, that's
And
incredible.
they are gradually moving out to other apps as those apps go live. So, yeah, it's fun. It's cool. It's astounding.
Astounding,
awesome.
Even. I was thinking that.
Astounding.
I had that in my notes. Yeah, there you go. You beat me to it, Bill. All right. We're getting ready to review The Killing Kind, and we're gonna here in a second get to the card, but we're going to talk about when we first saw this film and what our first impression was, and then we'll get into a discussion about the film and all kinds of details about the cast and what happens in the movie. It's going to be crazy, and we're excited to have you here. We hope you enjoy our discussion about this film, and if you do, please hit the like and subscribe button or share with a friend. It's all easy and free to do, and every click helps us find another horror fan just like you. So please, let's go find our live friends that are out there.
Join us.
All right. Let's take a quick look at the card, and then we'll circle back around and talk about what we thought of this particular obscure horror film. I'm going to throw that out there. Nobody's disagreeing. All right. The Killing Kind from 1973. Directed by Curtis Harrington. Written by Tony Crechales and George Edwards. The cast includes Ann Sothern, John Savage, Ruth Roman, Luann Anders, and Cindy Williams. It was produced by Media Trend and George Edwards Productions, and filming location was in Los Angeles County, California. Release date was in U.S. Film Festival, April 7th, 1973, and then in Austin in July 13th of 73. The budget was $200,000 estimated. The synopsis is: a young man is released from prison for sexual assault he did not commit and submits to his impulsive urges to seek revenge against those who wronged him. Cue music. Bah, bah, bah.
He
All
did
right.
not commit, huh?
Okay.
It's debatable.
that's a discussion in and of itself. I mean, technically, but
This guy's an unreliable narrator. Let's get that in.
Well, that might be true too. That might be true too. All right, I picked this film, so I guess I will go first. Jeff, you okay with that?
Absolutely.
What does he care?
You should.
I just look to Jeff for approval on all things. I didn't know. Hey, there he is. All right, well,
there he is.
Slap my face in there.
And there he is again.
I'm trying.
10 years later.
Wow. What a hog.
All right. Fun's over. All right.
Does it work to have two drivers of the boat?
I didn't know anything about this film, and when I was looking for films to put on our schedule for the next one, this one, so John Savage, kind of a cool actor that I remember in the 70s from very high profile movies like Deer Hunter and Hair. And then of course Cindy Williams as I was like, hey, let's see what she was doing before Happy Days, right? Or not Happy Days, but then Laverne and Shirley. She did, right? She appeared in Happy Days first, right?
Yep.
All right. So so I was eager to watch this, didn't know anything about it. So my first time watching it was last week, and I this was a really interesting film. I found it a little uneven tonally because sometimes it's really serious and dark, other times it's comedic and light. Some characters are playing it with their tongue stuck out of their cheek, other ones are very straightforward and menacing in some cases. So it was a little strange in that respect, but as far as a satisfying thriller from the 70s, I think it hit the mark, and I had a good time revisiting some of these actors that I grew up watching in other things, and discovering a new actress that I didn't know I had seen in other films, and didn't know she had such a long career in our lead, Ann Sothern, in our female lead. So this was kind of like I would classify this as a hidden gem. I kind of really dug this, and I'm eager to find out what you guys think. So, Jeff, what about you, sir?
Well, I'm not sure I would call it a hidden gem, but I think it was worthwhile watching. And it had special meaning for me because the mother, played by Ann Sothern, whose character's name is Thelma. My mom's name is Thelma. So
just like in Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
Your mom's name's Thelma too?
That's right. And it made me think,
why did you say that name?
Yeah. Anyway, so what bothered me a little bit is it's kind of a neat story of this character, but I just wasn't buying some of the motivations and the characters' actions. Just seemed like it was like, I don't know, maybe in neighborhoods in Los Angeles there are groups of people like this, but they seem decidedly messed up. Anyway, the mother and the son, for some reason we've been doing mother and son relationships that are kind of screwed up.
Well, there was a lot in the 70s now when you look back at it.
And actually it was in the 80s. What did in the Incubus, where the father and the daughter kiss on the lips and linger just a split second too long. Anyway, similar something here. They call each other by their names, just all kinds of stuff like that. But disregarding everything else, supposedly he's not, didn't commit this crime. In the flashback, he looks a little reluctant, I guess. Okay. But somehow or another, in the 2 years he spent in the prison, he's turned into a raving maniac. So there's that turn of events. But from that point on, if you just assume here's this guy's descent into madness, I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
So I go ahead.
I was gonna say they do have that trigger scene when he's like, "Wah!" At the beginning when he screams when they force him down on her.
Yeah. Oh, right.
And he looks like it's just like he breaks at that moment.
Well, and apparently out of all the guys that were there, he's the one that she rats out. It must have been sort of a we're going to pick on the weird guy thing, which I guess could warp you. But anyway, I'll stop there. It was fun seeing Ann Sothern, fun seeing Cindy Williams in a different role, and reading about some of these other ones. Ruth Roman is another person that you'd probably recognize, and Mrs. Orland. And the cats. I don't know. I was thinking about you, Bill, during the
a
couple of those cat scenes. But anyway, I'll stop there.
Like, shut up, cat. Oh, no. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right. Chad,
Yes.
what did you think of The Killing Kind?
This is the first time I've seen this or even heard of it. And so I sat down with, my Coke Zero and some popcorn and some peanuts over on the side there, and I just watched a cool horror movie. Right out of the gate, rape!
Start.
Yeah.
Right out of the gate, there's just a roving band of rapists just running down the beach, and you get a sexual assault right off the bat.
Gang rape, yep.
Well, and then I don't know. That scene just maybe put a bad taste in my mouth for the rest of the movie.
That might have been the popcorn.
I don't know. The popcorn was tasting pretty good at that point. But yeah, it was a weird film. Like you said, Doc, tonally it was all over the place. I couldn't figure out the relationship between this mother and son. I don't know if they were trying to get across the fact that how much she loved him so that the end would be even more tragic at the end. But he was getting a little lovey-dovey too much with her, I thought. But I didn't even know that was his real mother because he was calling her Thelma at first. And I just thought that was the place he stayed before he went to prison or whatever. But so yeah, a lot of weird stuff like that. I love the cast though. I loved the mother. I love John Savage. Cindy Williams. I thought it was it was different for her. We usually see her in comedic roles and that kind of thing. This was pretty serious, but a weird cast of characters, man, just weirdos. And I didn't know how to take it. I guess I couldn't figure out if it was trying to be funny or if it's trying to be a straight up serious movie. I just couldn't figure it out. And I did like the ending though. I did not like the way it ended. And it started to make more sense as it went along, I guess. But it's not one that I'd revisit anytime soon. I don't think. But that's kind of where I stand on it, I guess.
Not one you're going to revisit. Yeah, Cindy Williams was kind of like the awkward seductress, right?
Yeah.
It was really strange, but it was.
She's like the cousin that comes to stay with you
and flirts too heavy.
Yeah, flirts too much. Yeah, didn't seem right.
Cousins do you people have?
Didn't feel right. Well, I'm from North Carolina.
Yeah, I know.
Fair.
I'm from New York. That's a little bit more straightforward thing. All right, Bill, what did you think of The Killing Kind? What was your first impression, and when did you first see it?
Well, I should have seen it like last week for the first time, but it was actually earlier today because I just got And I'm really glad you picked this because I do think it's a hidden gem. And I'm glad to get the chance to talk about Curtis Harrington, who's one of those interesting filmmakers that I'm familiar with, despite the fact that I've seen hardly any of his movies. He was a great interviewee. So I've seen a lot of interviews with him. He was a real student of film. He deserves a lot of credit for saving James Whale's The Old Dark House, because he's the one behind it. He was a film historian and a real lover of film, and very active with some of the early avant-garde filmmakers like Kenneth Anger and Maya Derens. So an interesting guy, but I have the only movies of his that I've seen. I love some of them, like now I'm Queen of Blood. And The Cat Creature and Devil Dog, The Hound of Hell. So, I mean, he made a very checkered career, very uneven. But you can't blame anyone for Devil Dog, The Hound of Hell. You're making a TV movie about a devil dog, and it's just so, it's the unscariest thing you've ever seen in your life. It would have been scary if they used an actual devil dog, like the little snack cake, as opposed to this dog with horns and sparkles on. It's yeah. So, you know, but this, looking at this, I was super impressed. I thought that it's well made, well shot. The cinematography was great. And then I looked up, and the guy who did the cinematography a few years later did Carrie. So, you know, this is a super low budget effort, but it doesn't, to me, it didn't look that low budget. It doesn't have a strong narrative arc. It's more of a character study. And I think the one film of his that everyone says is his masterpiece that I've always had a hard time getting through is Night Tide, which is a very well-made, moody, Val Lewton type film. And I just, for whatever reason, I can't get into it. He's really good on style, but I don't think he ever really had, at least not that I've seen, a super strong script. And there you go. But given that limitation, I was pretty impressed. Good actors, well shot. Yeah, I think this is something people might relate to. It's a weird little film because you could read a lot into it. Like, what exactly is going on? How reliable is this narrator? What was the story? Because it doesn't seem to make sense. The victim later doesn't really act like a victim, or is that just the impression that we're getting from him? I don't know. But the relationship between the two of them is very weird. And Ann Sothern is wonderful. She is really great because she's not initially a very sympathetic character. She's kind of mean. She's very mean to Cindy Williams. And she's way too devoted to this kid who, again, calls her Thelma. I was like, isn't this supposed to be his mom? Why, nobody called their parents by their first name back in the 70s. I feel like you should be punched if you do it now. But I don't know. But then this is a strange movie. And it got buried. It is sort of a hidden gem because no one has seen it. I don't think it really got any real release until after Harrington had died. And he was always kind of regretful that a lot of his stuff was sort of hard to find. But I was very impressed. I'm glad you picked it.
Yeah.
Just to add
blue for me as well.
Had a comment about the cinematographer. I'm going to argue with you about having good scripts to work with because he also did was DP on Frogs.
Hey, take that back. Take that back. Take that back.
As an excellent script.
It was. That's my point. That's my point.
Oh, no. Well, the DP had good scripts. I don't think Harrington that I've seen.
Okay. I know you're talking about. So Mario Tosi was the cinematographer on this, and Carrie and Frogs. So
but I've seen interviews with Harrington where he actually talked about the filmmakers that he really, really admired, and he was friends with some great filmmakers like James Whale toward the end of his life. That he didn't seem to really think that the script was the most important thing. It was the art of cinema. It was the camera placement. If he could have kept on making silent movies, I think he would have been perfectly happy. Get rid of the whole script anyway.
Yeah, it did kind of have an art house underpinning tone to it, didn't it?
Yeah.
Just from the way it was structured. All right. Well, before we get into all the posters and stuff, I believe, Jeff, there is something that we need to do.
Well, once again, Crew believers,
we don't need to do it.
It's time for Taglines with Chad.
2.5.
Well, yours, I don't know why they changed the look of it, and the loop thing is different. So now
we get one more.
Just to finish it.
Just play the loop 3 times and you'll be done. Okay. All right. Taglines for The Killing Kind are as follows. When they made the mistake of letting him out, she made the mistake of letting him in.
Whoa.
I like that.
Yeah.
These are at least different than most.
Yeah. It feels good to read something different, like a terrifying story that you've never seen before in your life.
Yes.
Or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right, next. Terry was great with the girls until they were alone. And then he didn't get so good.
Yeah, and then
He wasn't so great after that.
Needed an audience.
As evidenced by the fact that during the sexual assault, he goes, I can't. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Terry loved soft, furry little animals. He loved his mother. He loved pretty girls. All dead. See, that's how he liked them, see.
Oh.
All
That
dead.
may be the strangest tagline.
Yeah,
That is, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Hey, did you ever want to strangle your mother? That's
Not
the tagline.
literally.
Boy,
Okay.
that's one of those conversation killers right there when you're with
Yeah.
a bunch of friends and just one of them, the weird
Yeah.
one. Did you ever want to strangle your
wanna
mother? And everyone
strangle
just,
your mother?
and you
Well,
just
time to
stare
go.
at Chad, and then he's like, no, me neither. I was just making conversation.
Yeah, it gets really awkward when the conversation like picks up. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
anyway.
All right. Well, that's been Taglines with Chad.
Boy, I've seen better heads on boils.
Oh my gosh. All right. Okay. So real quick before we get into everything, I want to circle back around to the unreliable narrator because there's a scene with Cindy Williams where she walks in on him and he's fixing the shower, the shower head.
Yeah.
And at first she's really timid and withdrawn and like
Seeing how he tried to choke her in the pool.
like what are you and what are you doing here? But then suddenly she starts getting really aggressive and lovey-dovey. Is that part of the story, or is that part of his unreliable narration?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, that she gets that way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
That
apparently
seems
all the
odd.
women were acting this way around.
All the
him.
women come up. Yeah,
Because of-
admittedly, I mean, this is nothing like my childhood. Then again, I didn't look like John Savage. So let's take that into account.
Well, that's a
But
good
yeah,
point.
The weird
So
neighbor
he
from
could've
across
just
the way.
thought
The weird
all these
neighbor
women
from
were
next
coming
door.
onto him,
Yep.
and
But
it
she
wasn't-
was drunk.
wasn't
So I don't know
true.
if that was a.
the weird neighbor from next door who at first I was led to think, okay, so this is going to be our sympathetic character. But then we have, and it's a marvelous scene where he is being a voyeur, staring at Cindy Williams getting undressed. And then we realize that the woman next door is looking at him, looking at her. And you're like, so everyone in this movie is really,
Bent.
yeah.
They're bent.
Yeah.
And she tells him, admittedly, she's drunk. This other character, Louise Elmore, the woman next door, tells Terry Lambert, the John Savage character, that sometimes she just wants to feed her father broken glass and just listen to it crunch on his dentures. I'm like,
And how did he respond? Yeah.
Yeah.
and then she moves in for the kiss.
Yeah.
It's just so. It's such a.
But she's
weird,
35
awkward
and
scene.
just too old. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I've been drunk, but I've never been hit on the weird guy next door who I just saw strangle an animal drunk.
Well, she
I don't know
also
if
was
it's
watching him
possible to be that
swim
drunk.
in his little tighty whities. So
That makes up for a lot,
Yeah.
but not for the strangling animals.
Well, that's a good point too. The introduction scene where he meets Cindy Williams' character. She walks in as a new tenant. He comes walking down the stairs in his tidy whities.
Yeah, it's tight. Yeah.
he, not his underwear, but just to be clear, he just has a really tight set of box swimming trunks, but we're calling tight weight. But
Well, I thought that was his underwear.
Those
Oh,
were
I
did
thought
you?
so
underwear.
too.
In
Oh,
that
did
scene, they
you?
were underwear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
it
pretty
might have
sure.
been.
Yeah.
It
Doc was not studying them as much as
No,
we
I
were.
guess not. It is kind of an interesting role reversal for 1973 in that respect.
Yeah.
Right. In that respect. All right. Well, let's look at some posters as we get into everything here. That is an interesting poster that I can say I've never seen.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I
if
said-
you're bothered by
Animal cruelty.
animal cruelty, you probably
Yeah.
there's
There are-
some
Stay
triggers.
away.
There's one kitty cat trigger scene that I think a lot of
Yep.
people today would not want to watch.
And if you're the kind of person who's bothered by rats, having bad things happen to them, it's like, just remember the plague, okay? They deserve everything they get. But yeah, the cat stuff goes a little far.
Well, and
This is one of those. I'm glad I didn't watch it with my wife.
Your
What's
wife
a
would not have
weird
liked
scene too, though, because he, the one woman, Marjorie Eaton, Mrs. Orleans, as she's got a mouse or something, she's hearing it.
A mouse.
So he goes up there, and right away he sees a rat running across. He's brought a big rat trap, and he sets it, and he catches the rat and holds it up, and see how he's attracted to the cheese? Should we let him get it? And she goes, yeah. And then when the mouse trap snaps shut, she faints dead away.
That was a great scene. Come on.
It was a good scene.
And he leaves her laying there on the floor and just walks out.
I know.
And leaves he leaves the rat there too, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Doesn't we get that weird little makeup shot on the rat?
Yeah.
So there's your tagline there, Chad. Terry loves soft, furry little animals.
Yeah.
He loved his mother. He loved pretty girls. All dead. This one.
Strangle your
I don't know where you found that one. That is odd.
I think that was a DVD cover. I think, but
that was an odd scene where he's giving her the massage and she's
Terry.
Well, wait,
Terry, that's awful tight, Terry.
That was the whole thing. I mean,
back it up, Terry.
There's the scene where they kiss, but then there's also the scene where he comes up behind her and he's kissing all over her neck and everything, which is a very sensuous thing to be doing.
Well, I mean,
your mother.
They were setting up that there was definitely something odd about them, and
right.
And to be honest, as as far as watching a movie, it's kind of like, what's going on here? You're watching, trying to figure it out, right? So
yeah.
Well, maybe that's why he couldn't complete the sexual assault, because it.
Yeah. Well, I think that was almost pretty. I think that was pretty clear when Cindy Williams goes in for the kiss. He has that flash of kissing his mom. Yeah. It's like, man, and then, this guy is screwed up.
I think he has a flash of. Doesn't he have a flash of the rape scene too?
Yeah.
Is that when the woman from the neighbor comes over or something, or when he? I can't remember, but
he kept having flashbacks to that every time something would happen with the women, or he was confronted by them, or when things would start getting intimate with these women, he'd have these flashbacks.
Yeah, and the movie never really elevates in tone, right? It's basically even down to the very end. It's
matter of factly,
and I don't.
Yeah.
To me, that was oddly fascinating. I mean, it's typical 70s. I mean, I think maybe not. Is it?
I felt it was. A lot of the TV movies of the time felt that way. A lot of these type of movies. I don't know if I can say this type because I don't know, but it seemed the tone of it is very 70s and very downbeat and very evenly, emotionally even throughout the whole thing. So it does have that 70s vibe to it. Yeah,
and am I the only one here that thinks that certain actors weren't necessarily acting in the same film? Really? Yeah. Because the neighbor had an entirely different tone. Like the scene with her father and everything just didn't feel like it was the same movie. And even when they were in the same scenes together with her and John Savage, it seemed like oil and water. It was really strange. And then the mother was even slightly different than everybody else. Although all of the performances in and of themselves, I really liked. But it was just really strange collection of characters and approaches to the acting of these characters.
Wait, and it comes out of nowhere.
What are you shaking?
I just it's just strange.
A lot of these encounters he has with these women just come out of nowhere. And what we've been used to seeing out of them up to this point, these women, changes drastically in each time. Like Cindy Williams, she was playful with him at first until he tried to drown her in the pool. And then she sort of stayed away from him. And it took him with his shirt off coming in, fixing the shower head to sort of get interested in him again. And that's why I think your theory was correct. Maybe it's from his point of view, looking at things, you know, because I can't see these characters just one after another like that, just wanting to seduce him and try and sleep with him.
Mm-hmm.
So,
after he tries, I'm sorry, go ahead, Chad.
No, I was just agreeing with Doc. It just seemed like some of these situations seemed out of place in the movie. If I'm wording it correctly, I don't know, but
yeah. So you mentioned when he acts like he's trying to drown her. But he's really scaring her.
Mm-hmm.
And then the mother accuses her. It's all her fault for parading around in front of him. But then the next 2 times she sees him, he's in her room without permission. He uses his key. I mean, I know his mother owns the place, but you know, uses the key. He's in there without talking to her. She has no idea what he's doing in there. He's singing or whistling or humming or something. It's very bizarre that she doesn't just totally freak out after the drowning scene, I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree with you, but at the same time, when I had my own apartment growing up, there was many times you'd come back to the apartment and the maintenance guy was in there fixing something.
Yeah.
You know, that was the thing. Now, usually you got a notice saying the maintenance guy will be there on Tuesday or something, but this is like a little more intimate because it's a boarding house as opposed. So it's not like.
And she's getting something done she's been complaining about.
Yeah. So I mean, I didn't find that terribly unusual. I found it inconsiderate, but not unusual, right? Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
But it did, because she would always come slinking in, like, what's going on? But she was never really afraid, though, at the same time, right? She wasn't afraid until
Didn't seem like it.
Came after her.
Yeah, and this is the guy who tried to drown her in the pool.
Right.
So...
but at the same time, she saw him every day, so I don't know. I'm not trying to excuse anything, but she should have been afraid of him. But
and she should have been. I mean, I guess she should have been the character we were most sympathetic toward and everything. But she's such a ditz because she doesn't deserve what happened to her, but she kind of puts herself in this dumb position. So, like, who are we rooting for in this movie? I'm all for usually, any rape victim, but boy, this movie goes out of its way to make her unsympathetic.
Well, even the original victim from the very beginning, gets a scene where she's again shown in additional bad light. It's like, and I think some people might be really offended by that.
Yeah.
They might be, but again, the feeling I got is that this was him justifying himself. But we don't know.
More and more like we're seeing it from this point of view. Sorry.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it could have been this guy was 100% innocent, and 2 years in prison with his, soft, gentle features has really messed him up. But there's no hint of that. He doesn't really talk about how bad jail was. I imagine it was horrible, but we don't know. It seems like the worst part of it is that, his mom's like, oh, when you went to jail, I was alone. I mean, boy, how narcissistic can you get? The worst
She's
part
very
of him
narcissistic.
going to jail. Yeah. And yet by the end of the movie, I felt bad for her. She was the character I kind of felt the worst about because she does love him as much as she's capable of. And when he goes off on her about all his uncles and the fact that he's probably illegitimate, never bought that story about dad dying, but I really felt bad for her. Yeah, she's awful, but I don't know. You don't talk that way to your mom, even if they're awful. But then you don't kiss your mom like that either. So I disagree with this guy's whole relationship with his mother, quite frankly.
And as a mother, you don't ask for kisses on the lips like that either.
No. You don't.
Not at that age. I mean, when they're little,
or sneak, sneak into when he's taking a shower and take pictures of him naked.
Oh yes,
that wasn't awkward at all. No.
Oh man.
Little glimpses of how he grew up and shaped him into the person he is now.
And then
right.
how many Thelmas did he have in prison, right? So, all right, let's
he was somebody's Thelma in prison. You never know.
Ooh. All right, well let's talk about the cast. Ann Sothern, who for me this is, even though I've seen The Man 2 and she's in The Man 2, I didn't put that connection together. This is something for me personally is kind of like a discovery. Like, who is this? And looking back at her film career, that, you know, she was, and somebody else helped me out here, but it looks like she was huge in the 40s and 50s, in movies and on B movies and TV, right?
I think so, because they act like it's kind of a big deal that she's starring in this movie.
Yeah,
I mean, she's given top billing, and
she was really big in comedic roles. Lucille Ball considered her one of the best comedians that she worked with. Yeah, and she was on the Lucy Show a number of times. She had a recurring character on that show.
Oh, wow.
There was even talk when Vivian Vance retired. There was talk that maybe Ann Sothern would become the new sidekick to Lucy, but they just decided to go on with just Lucy. So yeah, it's a different role from certainly people who remembered her, and now she's hit a certain age, and this is where I guess Harrington kind of specialized in making movies with older actresses, what has sometimes cruelly been called hagsploitation, whatever happened to Baby Jane and Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte. But I was telling Jeff before that I thought that he was much more, he treats his actresses much more sympathetically than some of those movies did. Whatever happened to Baby Jane, we're expected to see Bette Davis as a monster because she's an old woman, and that's it. She's an old woman, and old women are scary. And I didn't get that feeling here. Yeah, she's past her prime. She knows it. They all know it. Age takes its toll, but she's not a scary person because she's gotten older. It's just, you know, part of might be a reason that she's sad. But the
other phrase I was trying to think of, Bill, was Psycho Biddy.
Oh yeah,
I like that better than hagsploitation. Psycho Biddy is kind of cool. Psycho Biddy. That's a Talking Heads song.
Yeah, I mean, she even had her Psycho Biddy. Yeah. She had her own. She had her own TV show for 3 years, 58 through 61. And she was in a TV series before that.
She was a private secretary for like 5 years, and she's the first looking woman on a sitcom.
Oh wow! Look at that! And of course, we all know her as the voice of the car in My Mother the Car. She had the title role in that classic.
Oh wow!
Like a one-season show there. My Mother the Car, a woman who dies and is reincarnated as her son's car.
Well, and I haven't seen this.
Pre-Christine.
Yeah.
She was nominated for Best Actress in The Whales of August in 1988.
Oh wow.
WHALE?
WHALES.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, and she was nominated for multiple Primetime Emmys for Private Secretary and the Ann Sothern Show.
Yeah, The Whales of August. I mean, it's a good film, but it's one of those films where they cast a bunch of aging actors and basically tell the Academy it's now or never.
That never happens.
Come on. Yeah.
And then I think you brought this up in our pre-show, was that in the 40s she started a series of B pictures about a character named Maisie.
Yeah.
Right. Started Maisie, Congo Maisie, Gold Rush Maisie. Maisie was a lady, Ringside Maisie. Maisie gets her man.
Are those the RKO?
They're B pictures, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think Maisie was like a Brooklyn showgirl who somehow ends up in the Congo during the gold rush. They write themselves. It's like, it's funny because she doesn't belong there, and there she is.
And I guess she honed her skills, right?
Yeah.
I think those TV shows and I Love Lucy are the reason why, to me, she was just somebody I knew growing up, you know.
Yeah. Listen, I love those formulaic B movies from that time. That just they had a formula, they plugged it in. It was like ChatGPT before its time. It's like, she's a Brooklyn showgirl. She gets on the wrong boat, ends up in the Congo, hijinks ensue, but somehow she pulls it all together and puts on a show with the natives, and there's elephants and monkeys, and it all works out in the end.
Well, before TV, those were your TV episodes.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. You knew what you were getting. So
that makes it, having that experience makes it natural that she would transition into the TV roles in the late 50s. Yeah, it makes sense.
Well, you're playing the same character, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those were MGM. I'm
Summertime.
sorry. She did have a contract with RKO, but the Maisies were MGM. It looks like.
I would love to just sit down and watch a couple of those,
Yeah.
because they're probably just an hour long. And
Sure. And I guarantee every single one of them made money. And you know why? Because they didn't cost $300 million like every movie they make now. That has to be one of the biggest successes of all time just to break even.
Well, I mean, I was watching a documentary recently about B Pictures, and basically the studios originally created these B Pictures so they could make enough, they could have a foundation to take chances on the bigger pictures, and they could take the risk and risk a loss, because these pictures couldn't lose money. And they also, at the time, they owned the theaters. Remember, that was a thing. And so they had the show, they had the place where to put them, and it wasn't a thing. Now, once the law came, I don't know what the name of the law is, and I should know it, but the law came out that said, theaters can't be owned by, these studios. That fell aside, and of course, then your genre pictures took over, and your B pictures, and they became drive-in things. But it's just fascinating, the whole Hollywood history of all that. But you gotta look at some of those pictures. She was a looker. She was quite the charmer. I was just like, how do I not know about this person? All right, we're going to talk about the two leads.
She was in a bunch of, just quickly, she was in a bunch of film noir too, which if you were in beat pictures during that time, unless you chose not to, you would be in those. One that I like is The Blue Gardenia. It's a Fritz Lang movie.
Oh, wow. Fritz Lang. Yeah.
Anyway.
And of course, just to repeat what we said earlier, that she is in the Manitou. I think I think that's the picture of her down at the bottom. And what we're showing. Yes, it is. And she's the medium when they did the seance.
Yeah, I don't know if she was the medium, but she was definitely in the seance, and she looks like a medium.
She does, doesn't she? All right, let's talk about the two leads, and then we'll circle back around to the director and other characters behind the scenes. But we got to talk about John Savage. When I think John Savage, like I said at the beginning of the show, I think Deer Hunter and I think Hair. For me personally, Hair more, because I couldn't see Deer Hunter until much later. But what do you guys think of his performance here and his career?
I like John Savage. I like just about everything I've ever seen him in, especially Deer Hunter. Was an excellent film, and he wasn't bad here as far as playing someone that has lost his mind, and he starts to, I guess, perceive things in a different way. Like in that middle picture there, when she comes over and tries to apologize for being drunk and trying to seduce him and this and that, he goes from playing the guitar and to just explodes with anger. And you think, I don't know about you guys, but for 5 seconds there, or a half a second, I thought he was just going to brain her with that guitar.
He's actually got a great line there, because she's saying, I didn't actually do this. And he says, the next time you're stoned, lady, and you don't actually know what you're doing, and you don't actually know that you're horny, and you aren't actually yourself, why don't you hop in the damn cold shower?
Boom, mic drop.
And that's when she gets pissed off and stumbles back.
Yeah, like you can't play the guitar, and you don't know.
Yeah. She comes back at him.
I fully expected him to go El Kabong on her at that point.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Almost.
I was torn. I was like, are they? Are these two going? Is she going to be a victim, or are they going to team up? Because she was so wacky.
Yeah.
I was like,
I thought that too. I was like, she's going to join him. She's going to join him.
Are they going to drive off into the sunset together at the end of the movie? What's going on?
Yeah. Or they're going to switch. It's like, listen, you strangle my mother and I'll hit your dad over the head with a guitar. It's like, see, that's, if I've been doing this movie, that's totally the flip in the middle there when they decide to do Strangers on a Train. But Harrington had other ideas.
But she's such a strange character. She is
so odd.
But it's fascinating.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the. I don't think we have a picture. At least I don't see it. Do we have a picture of the director?
We do.
All right, I don't see it, so.
Well, just films. Oh, okay. It didn't show up on yours. All right.
Yeah.
There it is. There he is.
All right. Oh, he did Ruby.
Yes. Oh, Ruby. Ruby's
And
okay. So
Nighttime
that
was
was the
in
movie that
Robert
broke his
Wilson.
heart, though.
That movie should have.
Well, okay. So I mean, Ruby. That's why I say he's got a checkered career. A lot of the stuff that he did was taken out of his hands and re-edited. And you know, there came a point where I guess, you know, when you're doing stuff like The Cat Creature or Devil Dog, you're just, you know, work for hire kind of stuff. You need a paycheck. But Night Tide is like I say, considered his masterpiece. I love Queen of Blood. It's super low budget, and all the really good shots are from a Russian film where they just cannibalize the special effects. But I think it's great. He was convinced to his dying day that Alien ripped him off. And I would disagree, because I think Alien ripped off It, the Terror from Outer Space. But if you take those two movies
and about 5 other films,
take It, the Terror and Queen of Blood and mash them together, you get Alien. And rip off is I think a cruel term.
Sprinkle a little Planet of Vampires in there.
What's the Matter with Helen had Debbie Reynolds and Shelley Winters. I think that's Shelley on top there. And again, he seems to be really good at getting good performances out of women, especially women actresses who might be past what most filmmakers would consider their prime. He got some good stuff out of them without, I think, being mean and exploitive about it.
You don't have whoever slew Auntie Roo.
Whoever slew Auntie Roo,
with Shelley Winters as well.
And there's The Dead Don't Die, which is another TV movie. He worked with some good actors and actresses. A lot of. I
think the Anthony Perkins one was.
Yep. How Awful About Alan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eddie Albert and Kate Jackson and Killer Bees. One of Chad's.
Killer Bees.
That we'll never do.
Chad loves. Well, you weren't wanting to do that one. You want to do Swarm.
Swarm, yeah. Swarm.
Yeah. And then I think he finished out his career doing stuff like episodes of Charlie's Angels and stuff. Now, he wasn't happy with this trajectory that he started out making these, you know, cool underground films, and then worked his way up to doing stuff with Roger Corman, and then had his big break, and then kind of, you know, that slide downhill. I can't, for the life of me now, I can't remember it. He was up for directing. He was like being considered to direct a film that went on to do some good stuff, and then they gave it to someone else, and his friends were speculating what would have happened if he'd had that one breakout film. And he just didn't have that. By the time he got to doing stuff like Ruby, and I think his last film was Mata Hari, man, the producers just totally took it out of his hands, re-edited, added new endings, just completely. So, yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, what an interesting selection of films.
Yeah.
Ruby is definitely, I mean, well, a number of these films are definitely ones that we should cover at some point, regardless of how questionable quality is on Ruby, but it's still worth looking at.
A TV one too called The Cat Creature.
Yeah, with Meredith Baxter Birney.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. And David Heston.
Yeah.
John Carradine.
If you get a chance,
written by Robert Bloch. I'm sorry.
Written by Robert Bloch. No, if you get a chance, dig up an interview with him, because he was one of those people. Boy, I would have loved. I mean, he'd be 100 and something years old now, but he was a great interview, because he loved old Hollywood. He befriended these people long after it would do him much good, and had a real respect for the medium. And I think this film shows a director with a lot of potential, and someone who apparently did not reach fully that potential. He made a lot of films. He's got, he's been rediscovered and is talked about more now than he was when he was alive, and that's good. Probably didn't do him much good. But yeah, I think there could have been this story could have been more. There could be more to it.
Well, I just am astounded by the actors that worked with him. The Dead Don't Die, the TV movie, had George Hamilton, Linda Crystal, Joan Blondell, Ralph Meeker. I think I saw Ray Milland, Reggie Nalder. Yeah. Anyway, it's just.
Well, How Awful About Alan was Anthony Perkins.
Yeah.
Julie Harris, Joan Hackett, right?
Yes.
And for the most part, he had nothing. Yeah.
Three actors that play great psychos.
You know, and for the most part, for most of these actors that he worked with, he had a lot of good to say about them. And Shelley Winters could be difficult to work with, but he seemed to do just fine with her.
Is she? I can imagine.
Yeah, you know, I think when you look at a career like this, I think what it shows is why do some filmmakers make it and others don't? I mean, he made it in that he was able to, you know, feed himself on all this, but never became a name. And I think a lot of it is, if you find yourself a producer, someone who believes in you, someone who does all the dirty work of having to get the funds and everything, put the thing together, that could be the big difference. You know, you take Charles Schneer away from Ray Harryhausen, and we'd probably have the Willis O'Brien story, where a guy, you know, a creative artist who has all these great ideas, but can never convince anyone to put the money up there.
Deborah Hill, right? Take Deborah Hill.
Yeah, Deborah Hill and John Carpenter. You know, those people underestimated. They don't get the attention from fans like us because we go for the creative types and everything, but they are necessary. And if Harrington had maybe found that person, that one person who saw that this guy is capable of doing stuff, maybe steered a few better scripts his way and everything, and gave him the freedom to go loose and everything, this might be a completely different story.
Yeah, because direction-wise, this film is solid.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't feel
Right.
it doesn't feel antiquated. It doesn't feel overly TV. Because a lot of the films, some these films that we rediscover like this, a lot of them will end up feeling very, wow, that just felt like it was supposed to be on TV and it made it into the theaters. But this one doesn't. It feels cinematic. I think that might be a lot to do with the cinematographer that we were talking about, the DP. But the and one last thing about what he did. This is for Chad. He did an episode of Logan's Run. I'm sure, like me, you watched the Logan's Run TV show.
Oh heck yeah!
I think we all did, but apparently we're the only ones who did.
Yeah,
he did an episode of Wonder Woman too.
Mm-hmm.
If you're into comic book stuff, you know what? Even as bad as everybody talks about, I haven't seen Devil Dog. I'll admit, but it starred Richard Crenna. I mean,
oh yeah, and Yvette Memoir, whatever. Yeah, everything about that movie is fine, with one exception.
Dog.
Devil Dog, The Hound from Hell, which is a problem when that's the name of your movie.
Although, I remember watching it, and it was like,
yeah.
We talked about it on school, right? Do you remember? You go to school.
Yeah.
Of course we did. Yeah. And when we described it, it was way scarier than it was. The thing is, this cute little family dog, and then they put horns and stuff on it. Literally, they put horns on it. And it's like, listen, same problem Neither Lipas had. There's nothing you can do to a bunny rabbit to make it scary. Oh, we're going to smear blood around its face. It's a cute little bunny rabbit.
Even when they're giant and crashing into buildings, you go, "Aw."
Who's a big boy?
We will have to do Devil Dog now.
Yeah.
It's got to be on our docket soon.
Yep.
so I don't know if can you see these other ones, Doc? You want me to just?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and pop them up?
I'll pop those up. Yeah, Cindy Williams. Yeah.
I got to say that she's one of the reasons I wanted to do this film. I wanted to see her in something other than,
Levine and
Shirley. And you don't get too much. She's in stuff, but you just don't really think of it. And I was like, I don't even know about this film. And it's a horror film. What did she do? And she does have a couple of, she's got the drowning, the bathtub scene that you see down at the bottom, and then she gets put into a trash can.
Yeah,
one of her top acting chops.
And the hand hanging out.
Yes.
Go. These are not career criminals. Clearly, their body disposal technique leaves a lot to be desired.
But she pulled off the little, drunk vixen, because that's the only time she kind of had this horny edge to her. It was really interesting. It's different, because she definitely wasn't like that on Laverne and Shirley at all.
She was a little bit of a bad girl here.
Right.
Yeah.
She was going to be a model.
She was.
Yeah. They say I have an interesting face.
Well, that's another way of them saying you're ugly, dear.
I know. I love that reaction. I love that dialogue between the two of them. That was so good.
That's what they tell you when you're not pretty.
That's right. Oh God,
Dude,
like, you bitch.
but you could almost taste the jealousy in her. And
Oh, absolutely. She's shoving bonbons down her mouth. It's like that's what they tell you when you're not pretty.
It was wonderful.
Yes.
What a great scene. Just talk about chewing on the scenery. We got a dad joke here.
Cindy goes after John Savage's character pretty blatantly too. Tries making bad jokes and whatever.
And that's where it's debatable. Is that what she does, or is that
him thinking right?
The,
Well, I mean, even their first when she's sitting by the pool and he comes out and she's trying to talk to him and stuff, and then she shoves him into the pool.
Or is it just he's the only one available because that house is like the Golden Girls retreat, and here's the pool boy.
More like the Platinum Girls. I mean, these women are. Ooh.
Well, all the Golden Girls kids.
True.
Yeah.
The one that keeps walking around the house with their.
Cindy was also in. I had a bit part in Beware the Blob.
Yes, she did. Of course, every friend of
Larry
Hagman was in that film for no good reason.
American Graffiti.
Is, of course, that led to her eventually.
Happy Days.
We're circling back around to Happy Days in the Room.
First nudie musical. Yeah, she was in.
To be fair, the first time her and Penny Marshall appeared on Happy Days, they were considered the loose girls.
Right.
If you remember?
Oh, were they?
Yeah, they were.
I can't remember that.
They were considered the loose girls, but then when they went to their own show,
they crewed it up real fast. Yeah.
Laverne was still kind of bad, but Cindy Williams.
She was the innocent one, right?
She was the innocent.
Right.
It was kind of like an Odd Couple kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I watched that show religiously.
Oh, absolutely.
That was a family time. That was back when the whole family would sit around the boob tube.
Yeah. Yep. When I saw the hand hanging out of the back of the garbage can, the first thing I thought of was Laverne blowing air into the glove and putting it on the bottle going down the line.
All righty. Well, she does. I think she does what she's supposed to do in that film. She's
perfect.
Yeah, she was good in it. She was good in it.
It's kind of a thankless role, but she's good.
Mm-hmm.
This was our kind of drunken neighbor, Luana Anders, who was taking care of her father, who wasn't a happy guy.
No,
I want to see her movie. I liked her so much. I want to see what her movie turned out to be because she looks like.
She seemed like that's the case. She had her own little movie going on.
She acted like she was in her own little movie, but you feel like shit was going to go sideways over the side of the fence.
Yeah, and I thought she was going to be behind everything or manipulate him somehow.
Right.
His dad and all
or
that.
Save him like in a big twist.
Yeah,
come in there and like bap the mom over the head and walk away.
She's the one that calls the cops. Right?
Yeah, she does drop a dime on them. And that's her on the bottom. She was the sister in Pit and the Pendulum and a victim in Dementia 13. She did some cool stuff.
She was great.
Yes, she was.
No, she was. And I kept thinking she looked like somebody else, but I never did figure it out.
She kind of looks like the name's escaping me, but she was the from The Omen. She kind of has the Omen, but I think it's more the attire and the hair. You know what I'm talking about? Billy Whitelaw.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, that's not who I was thinking, but I can't argue with you because I can't remember. Can't put a name on it. Well, then this is Ruth
Roman.
Who plays the lawyer that didn't get him off.
And apparently smokes 3 packs of cigarettes a day because, boy, she's got a gruff.
Oh, man. Voice. Oh, my God. Can't handle the liquor. But who could in the circumstances?
Oh, wow.
That was what a crazy way.
What was the purpose of getting her that inebriated?
I don't know if he was if there'd have been some explanation that he was trying to get her drunk and make it look like one of those accidents, where you spilled the bottle of booze and you fell into it with your lit cigarette.
Because that was what he had, like lighter fluid or something. He was.
Yes, he sprayed her with lighter fluid in the end. Yeah. But he poured booze all over her too.
Yeah. He didn't think these murders out very well.
No, but she went up.
Now I read in one interview that she actually was very much afraid of fire. So Harrington made sure that he filmed it in a way that there was not fire and her in the same scene. So he's like, you throw the pillow.
Well, they
out
did,
there,
yeah.
which is, and also saves you a bundle on a fire gag. Which
and it worked. It worked.
Yeah.
I don't know how big a part it was, but she was in Stranger on a Train.
Oh, and that's her on the bottom in the guy who did Manitou, William Girdler's Day of the Animals.
Day of the Animals, yeah. Was she?
Have we done that? Have we done?
Yes,
Day
we
of the
have.
Animals?
We have.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But that the scene where he attacks her is rather, I think, one of the tenser scenes in the movie. It really is well done for what it's doing. It's very.
And again, we don't know if he
vicious.
has any justification for this whatsoever. Like, how bad a defense did she put up? If it's the victim, and I guess all the other guys testify. Why we don't know why this guy apparently was the only one, maybe, who went to jail. There was no mention of anyone else doing it. The impression
I thought the girl pointed him out that he was the only one.
Right.
Yeah, I got the impression he was the only one as well, or at least the only one that took the rap. They might have all been. We don't know if others got on trial, but he was the only one that got sent to trial.
Right. But I mean, okay, listen, they put this guy on the stand and give his side of the story. Clarence Darrow's not going to get him off. I mean, he's squirrely. Everyone would convict him. So I don't know if this, not that anyone deserves to have this happen to them, but again, I thought she did a good performance too, because she seems to be the one person who's like aware this guy is crazy. Maybe I can smile. Oh, I'm glad I was gonna write. Do you need some money? She's like, this is the old.
Why don't you come by and see me tomorrow?
She keeps trying to get him out the door.
Right. No, it's the very definition of diplomacy. It's saying nice dog, while you look for a stick or a stone or something. Desperately looking for some way out of this.
And even as drunk as she was, she still tried to brain him with that wine bottle before.
Yeah.
Oh, wasn't that great? That was great. And he just turns around and she stumbles right into him. That was perfect.
I thought that was a great scene. That was a good scene.
It gave her character some agency.
And again, look at this. He makes some crude comment about get yourself a, let's just say, gay decorator, and you make yourself look like you have a lot of class.
Yeah.
This scene is set up well. It has a good background, good lighting. We've all seen low budget movies on this very podcast where, they just turn on the lights, point the camera, and boom, we see shadows all over the place, and it just looks dull and uninspired. This is a well shot scene. Yeah. It took a little setup to do.
Sense of dread through the whole, from the minute he sits down on the couch, there's going to be trouble, and it just sets up that feeling of dread until the murder starts.
Is there anybody else that we should talk about?
Yeah, there's at least one more. Look at this! Oh my God! That little old lady was the Emperor in the Empire Strikes Back, the original
OG Emperor.
The OG.
Wow.
But
now, don't go running to your DVDs and say, Bill, you're on acid or something. She's totally not in it because they took her out.
She's not on Disney Plus, right? She's not.
Yeah, they replaced her with the new guy and everything. But they put some Rick Baker prosthetics on her, and I think they gave her chimpanzee eyes. I think they superimposed chimpanzee eyes, which is so nuts. But I thought it really worked.
It was. I remember that to this day.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I was like, what is wrong? What is going on with the Emperor? What the dealio?
So much so that I was like, when I saw the Emperor later, I was like, this isn't the same.
No.
Not the same guy.
No.
Where's the chimpanzee eyes?
Yeah. But that was creepy. I remember that so vividly from when I was a kid and I saw that.
She was in Night Tide as well.
She's got that look about her. She reminds me of what's her name from Bride, Frankenstein, and the Invisible Man.
I was thinking that was her for a second.
Una, whatever it was. Yeah.
The hysterical woman that always ran around.
She was in Invisible Man too. Well, yeah, I kind of, because again, Invisible Man and Bride of Frankenstein were both directed by James Whale, and that was he was really, really good friends. Curtis Harrington was with him in his last few years. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Interesting.
He's
I didn't
all
pick up
ain't
on
no way.
He's old, ain't no way he is.
But she has the greatest pratfall. When she faints, it's
Man.
perfect. It was perfect. Oh gosh. I mean, look at the scene at the top. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right before the
Snap.
collapse.
Well, that's before he puts her on. Puts the rat in the.
No warning
some
either. She
cheese,
just
rat.
slumped over.
I know. It's just like It's perfect. I love it. Real quick about Cindy Williams, who we were talking about what other films she was in. She was shooting The Conversation in San Francisco at the same time she was shooting this in LA, and had to commute back and forth to do both scenes.
Wow.
That's commitment, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
I wonder if she.
And by the way, Una O'Connor is the one we were talking
yes,
about.
thank you.
Mhm. Listeners are screaming at us at home.
Yeah, they are. This is the kind of thing
Idiots.
where I'd been driving down the road listening, screaming.
Driving over, gripping the steering wheel. How do you not know Una O'Connor? If Mulligan says Uma Thurman, I'm gonna hunt him down and kill him.
We're not perfect. We're not machines.
Oh, my God.
Oh, they know that by
So I
now.
don't know, Doc. I'm glad you picked this one. So,
Well, what do you think's a better title, The Killing Kind or the original title of the screenplay, Are You a Good Boy?
The Killing Kind.
Yes,
Killing Kind,
absolutely. Neither of them was going to, do
Are
well.
You
there
a
were
Good
some,
Boy is like a movie about a dog.
One of the
there were
great.
some AKAs. One was Von Motorischer Art, or Of a Murderous Nature, which is kind of the killing kind, or just Mordlust in Germany, also Bloodlust. He did turn bad.
Yeah,
He did.
He
Broke
did.
bad.
And Mom said, what does she say? She has a line, something like, he doesn't have any better chance than a hobo in hell, which I thought, well, that's a weird saying. I
thought she said snowball, but I might not have been paying attention.
Oh, maybe I was looking at the captions. Because that's what I was thinking. Snowball would make him.
I wonder if they typed hobo. Just last thing we should talk about. Let's talk about the cat again. Just to the cat was they did have a vet on hand, and the vet basically gave the cat tranquilizers, so the cat just fell limp.
I was going to say, because it looked like a real cat.
Bullshit.
Maybe
when he was holding it and it was outside the window, that was like
it didn't look like
with
it.
The tongue,
it was. That's a real cat.
Yeah, to follow that up, there is a dead cat that's in the garbage can that we see later, and that was really a cat that they had got from the SPCA that was euthanized.
Yeah, well, I mean, fair enough.
That seems like a through line to me.
I don't know, but when that cat goes to meow and he squeezes it, it's
that was hard to watch.
I swear the eyes bulged out and the tongue came out.
Yeah, it was hard to watch.
Yeah, especially if you're a cat lover.
Yeah.
Which look at Bill's picture. What's happening behind his head? All right, let's do some final thoughts, and we have some feedback. Right, Jeff?
Yes, we do.
All right. My final thoughts are easy. I was thoroughly surprised by this film. I won't to kind of say what Chad said earlier. I don't know if I necessarily will be drawn back to see the film again, but I am very glad I got to see it for this. And it was, like I think this is a film worth seeking out and watching as this oddity of a film.
I agree.
Chad, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh,
sorry, Bill.
Okay. I mean, I agree with you. It's a weird film, and I really didn't know what to expect going in. So I guess that's what made it even more weird for me. But it's like I said, I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad I've seen it, but it's not one I'd revisit anytime soon.
Would you recommend it?
Yeah, I would. It is worth seeing. I will say that. There's other movies I'd revisit before this one would ever come to mind, I think.
There's a long list.
Yeah.
Phil, you were saying, sir?
No, I would recommend it, and I agree. I don't know that I'm going to revisit anytime soon. I think I got out of it what I needed to, but it does make me want to watch the other Curtis Harrington films I haven't seen. So I haven't seen Helen and Auntie Rue, and now I will go seek those out.
What are those films I tried to get on our docket and it was frowned upon? So maybe next time.
Maybe.
Right, Chad?
Well, apparently you can just suggest whatever these days, and it gets we talk about.
That's right.
Just whatever you want.
That might have been a rule at one time, but I think that's not the
hold on to your ads, but wait till the end of the show when you find out what's next.
Oh boy,
Jeff, final thoughts.
Well, yeah, I've seen Night Tides, and I've seen whoever slew Auntie Rue, which is okay. You know, I'd have to watch it again now. And what I like about doing this is I'm starting to pick up
DVDs,
a feel.
Blu-rays?
No, I don't have any of those. I'm starting to pick up a feel for Curtis Harrington. I think that I didn't even know about before. So
a style and a tone.
That's what I appreciate about it.
All right. Well, there you go. Check it out. Where did we watch this? I think I watched
Tubi,
right? So
Tubi.
Or not to be.
Tubi. So check it out and let us know. I want to know if anybody listening to the show had ever seen this movie before. Somebody had to have.
Oh, I'm sure.
If not, I want to know what you guys think of it.
You're just inviting Jerry Chandler to write a book about it.
Well, Jerry Chandler obviously has seen everything. But anyway, I would be curious to know if anybody had caught this film. All right, let's I guess we have some feedback, Jeff?
We do, sir. Couple of quick ones. Episode 190, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. Vanessa Ionta Wright says, I just recently watched this for the first time a couple months ago. 3 exclamation points. So I hope she enjoyed the show. That is exciting. I love it when people discover stuff like that.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Yes, thank you.
Vanessa. Episode 191, The Dunwich Horror, and somebody's gonna have to help me. Lone Wolf had said he gave us a choice, and I don't think we took it. It was Blood for Dracula, or what was the other one we did with?
Flesh for Frankenstein?
No, Kiss.
Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park.
No,
no. The George Hamilton.
Love at First Bite.
I think that's what it was. Blood. And we didn't make a pick. And then we said, well, what's your pick, Lone Wolf? So he says, to answer your question, Jeff, I prefer Blood for Dracula because of the great Udo Kier.
Fair enough.
What a crazy performance in that movie.
And also the Dunwich Horror. And I'm trying to remember. Chad, did you pick that?
Which one?
The Dunwich Horror?
Yes.
Okay, so you want to read the one from Gregory Crosby?
Sure. Greg says, here's a tangent, which we're known for doing tans genitals around here. For years, I've listened to the Firesign Theater's Dear Friends, a 1972 compilation of the best bits from the radio program. One of these is Mark Time, a hilarious parody of Flash Gordon that uses some marvelously otherworldly and melodramatic music for its intro. I'd often wondered where the Firesigns found the music for this, so imagine my surprise on finally firing up the Dunwich Horror and discovering that it's Les Baxter's score for the title credits. It all makes sense now. Cool. Hey, that is cool. As for the film itself, I confess it mostly didn't work for me. Lovecraft does indeed require a certain tone and atmosphere, and the overly lit interiors and muddy solarization did not inspire. But it is a great cast, and Dean Stockwell's weirdly detached yet intense performance is the highlight. He really doesn't blink, does he?
He does not.
Okay. Opening band for John Saxon's Hat, which we talked about John Saxon Hat being a good band name, is Dean Stockwell's mustache.
Oh, man. That's a night of entertainment right there.
Yeah, that was an epic mustache.
Well, John Saxon's Hat was from Bird with the Crystal Plumage, right? Or was that from...
Yeah.
No, that was from Tenebrae.
Right.
Tenebrae,
which was the 80s. He was the agent. All right. Gregory is a man who likes his hats. If you look at his
Mm-hmm.
social media, so appreciate that. And then episode 192, let's scare Jessica to death. Doc, you want to read that one?
Sure.
Also from Gregory Crosby.
Gregory says, what a great pleasure to hear Hancock talk about this brilliant film, the director of the film, and about Wolfen, which I saw for the first time just last summer at the Museum of Modern Art. Kudos to Hancock for rescuing it in post. It's a fascinating film that isn't really a werewolf film at all. Mm-hmm. Yes, more filmmaker interviews, please. And please somehow add Who Can Kill a Child, which I saw for the first time last year on the big screen at the Metrograph. Wow. It's delightfully disturbing and would make an excellent episode for the crew. While I know you tried to stick to films that are currently streaming, perhaps the occasional film from the Jeff Mohr Blu-ray Purchase Hall of Fame can slip into the schedule. Hey, it's only $20 on Amazon. By the way, the original Jessica review with Doc and Santos was one of the first episodes I listened to during the last year of the lockdown, an episode that confirmed I had finally found a horror movie podcast worth exploring further. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Gregory.
You know, the Metrograph, somehow or another, when we got that advanced copy of the 4K reissue of the Possession. It was showing at the Metrograph at the time. The link that we got went through the online Metrograph website. So I'm not sure how that was connected, but that's how I know about it. So anyway, that's it, and appreciate it, Gregory. Yes, we had a great time talking to him, and that just kind of fell into our laps. So I don't know. I hope some other ones maybe fall into our laps.
They can sit across from me. But
I know. Like, we weren't that close, but hey, we'll work.
No, that was great, and we didn't know that when we started. I don't know. I probably shouldn't have done that review of his career, considering the amount of time we had him for. So we had so many more questions for him.
No, there was so much to talk about, but yes. He really did share a lot.
Yeah, cool guy.
So thanks, Gregory. Thanks, Vanessa and Lone Wolf.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you all.
All right. So now, and Jeff, this is your pick. We have the announcement. And look at Bill just gleaming with joy of what's going to be on the next episode. Jeff, what could it possibly be?
Well, in an effort to cover all 20 movies that you and the Black Saint covered in your founding episodes of the 70s podcast, we are doing The Shriek of the Mutilated.
Yes. Oh my.
From 1974.
Chad, have you seen this?
I don't think I have seen this.
You're going to hate Jeff.
Well, where's it streaming?
Tubi.
All right.
It's on Tubi. So
it's Tubi
1974, and it's
what a movie.
It is a bad movie treat. It is.
Hey Jeff, Chad, I'll just say two things. All right, Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo. Oh no! Don't say that.
Okay.
I've seen the film. Don't say that.
I have to, and I'm.
Whose pick is it? Jeff's?
It's mine. Right?
Just so you know who to blame.
I'm on a roll, I did the Loch Ness Horror on 80s. So
you say that like there's some kind of pride involved.
Yeah, I'm on a roll.
It's definitely going to be a fun discussion. This movie is if you cherish bad movies, this is maybe the top of this.
Well, it's right in there with
Dracula versus
the God Monster of Indian Flats is a little more interesting only because the monster is so
weird.
This is a good film. The filmmakers have an interesting story to tell. At least one of them has a bad ending, but it's an interesting story. And this movie,
I don't know. You guys are giving me some really high expectations.
High expectations. Oh my gosh!
I'm just going to say I have the Blu-ray.
Wow.
Of course.
Oh my
There
Well,
god!
that's
is a
good
Blu-ray.
So you can catch all the nuances. Hey, Chad.
Yes.
Chad, if you were looking, if you were going to go look for the Yeti, where would you look?
Usually in a cold spot, somewhere where there's a lot of snow, mountains, Himalayas.
Now, the correct answer is upstate New York. I think you're
Oh, okay.
You've
That
got
was
a
my
lot
next-
to
that's what I was
learn.
going to say next.
Yeah, you've got a lot to learn, young man. So this movie will be an education for you.
Yes, yes.
This is a vinegar
Look at that.
syndrome.
Oh, nice.
Look at that.
That's a great title. Look, I don't care who you are. Shriek of the Mutilated is a great
It is a great
exploitation movie
It
title.
is.
It is. Yeah.
It is. It is.
And with the tagline, piece by piece by piece, the bodies vanish.
PACE?
No. All right. Well, there you go. We need to wrap this up.
We do.
Oh my gosh, what a lot
Yeah.
of fun this was. It's great. I think it is, as fans of 70s horror films, to all discover a new
Yeah.
film.
Even
Yeah,
if I
like
don't like the films, I always enjoy talking about it.
Oh,
with
yeah.
you guys, so.
Definitely.
Well, keep that in mind when you watch Shriek of the Mutilated.
Yeah, I thought I'd say that now and get
It's
that out
fun
of the
to
Yeah,
way.
there will be a level of appreciation that comes
All
out.
right,
Yeah.
I'm going to start watching it tonight, and if there's problems, I'll see you in the chat room.
And before we go, are you a good boy?
Nah, I'm feeling more like the killing kind.
Give me a kiss.
Tish. All right, guys. Bill, Chad, Jeff, thank you for joining me. This, as always, is a lot of fun.
You're welcome.
Same here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Let's
you.
get out of here and let's say goodnight.
Good
Night,
night,
folks.
everybody.
Gruesome Magazine.